law students, any kind of students, as well as the attorneys that the law community will become, and the reference librarians who work with those people. We have tools for you guys to help find things on the internet, to capture what you find, and to share what's meaningful with those people that would find it meaningful. And Ben here, Benjamin Morton, I'll let him say what he does in a minute, but we were brought together. We don't know each other, or didn't know each other, but we discovered through CALI an opportunity to work together. So I wanted to, rather than just show you two PowerPoints, mine and Ben's, we really want to try to show you, obviously, what each company offers, but also what we can do together. So I'll go first, but I'll have in mind LegalInfo-Grapics while doing that. And when it's Benjamin's turn, he'll probably leverage what he says against what Cartagio is capable of too. Okay? So, did you want to say anything right now?
Yeah, I'm Benjamin Morton. I'm actually the founder and president of a company called LegalInfo-Grapics. We try to supply everyone with a little booklet indicating our software, kind of breaking it down step by step. So we won't spend too much time going into each aspect of the software because you have it with you. Plus, we try to give you a CD, which is a demonstration of our federal rules of evidence. If you do not have the book, we do have some CDs over here. My wife, the beautiful young lady, sitting in her lap, raise your hand now. She is supplying the CD. So grab the CD and just like that. So you should either have the book, the CD. If you have neither, it's downloadable from our website. If you don't have time to do that, shoot me a business card. I'll be happy to send you the booklet, the CD as well. Okay? I'll be back up shortly. I'll let her take it from here.
Great. Again, I don't have a PowerPoint. I used to do those, and I found that, at least with Missiontrek's products, it's much more effective just to show them working. And what we have is two things, essentially. A product that we would call our authoring software. It's called Cartagio Enterprise, and we have different versions of it as well. So think of Cartagio as a browser-based set of tools to help you do your research. And the assumption here is that some of the research you do will be online on public web. Some of it will be on CDs, at least for a while longer. And a lot of it will, of course, be on the many, many different pay databases out there. And each of those products have their own set of tools to help you do organization. What we have doesn't really replace them. We think we have supplements all those tools that you're already using. And it provides a skeleton or a framework to take information from many sources and put it into one place. So you can either, as an individual or as a group, create projects and share them. So what I wanted to show you all first was the result. I know that's kind of backwards, but I think that the most effective way to show you what Cartagio is capable of is to quickly go through an existing Cartagio work product for all you lawyers out there and those in training. So we're logged in right now to a website. It's an extranet. It's a very simple extranet that can be deployed by anybody sitting in this room with basic computer skills. And it allows a group of people to contribute in real time to a project. And the analogy I would use here in education is if a group of students have a reason to work together on some legal case on behalf of the school, I'm imagining that each of you have some aspect of the case that you'd be responsible for. There'd be a lot of overlap, and the Cartagio would handle the overlap. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just go through some of the pieces of Cartagio for you. These are categories, and each category I guess I better log in. As you can see, we have a tree. We have a folder called CALI, and underneath the folder, you would see all the projects to which you have rights. Here's one called Collaborative Solutions, and these are the categories inside Collaborative Solutions. A category can consist of web bookmarks that are annotated. As you can see here, this is a website. This is a comment that somebody made. These things here are the keywords used to do the search for that page. Beneath that, you have a PDF and a spreadsheet, and you can have all different kinds of files. And one of the things that we think is powerful about Cartagio, beyond the authoring capability and the collaborative capability, is the ease with which you can take things from your PC and put them where anybody can get them with the proper rights. So these are different files that have been imported to the project, along with the annotations about them. And the end result would be, in the case of a school project, or in the case of a law firm, a work product, or in the case of a law library, a research project, would be a tour. So you would use Cartagio to browse the web to find those things that are important to your research or to your case, in the case of an attorney, and you would add your own thoughts to that, add your own notes to the different things that you found. And the last bit would be sequence them in some order. And the analogy here would be PowerPoint. So the end result here is a list of bits of the web, bits of your own thoughts, bits of documents that you found on the web or on your network, and they're sequenced into some logical order along with your notes. So someone that you're sharing the project with can see not just all the legwork that you did, but the end process, the organized and structured view that you're trying to present to somebody else. So what they can simply do is just forward through, much like a PowerPoint, and see all the different pieces that you found along with your notes. These things are called snippets here. I'll show you more about that when I show you Cartagio. And everything here is clickable. In the case of the file, you can click the file, the open, and so forth as well. So this would be, the way that you share your conclusions with your patrons or with your colleagues or clients in the case of a law firm. And that process is interactive, and it's people that have input can talk to you in one of several ways. There's obviously email, but there's also inside the project something called a forum. A forum is a way for, again, to use the law firm analogy where you were going. If you use Cartagio in a law firm, what this might be for is a way to interact with your clients. It might also be a way to interact with attorneys that work for your firm or work with your firm at other companies. And this will give them some means of actually communicating with you and asking you questions, making comments, without having Cartagio on their own system. So I won't bother showing you all that because you all know what forums are. I just wanted to get that point home. This is the other side of the coin. This is Cartagio. This is a browser-based software. It's the authoring software. It is a browser. It doesn't need to replace your other browsers, but it does integrate to a certain extent with other browsers such as Explorer. It pulls through your Explorer favorites and so forth. And what I wanted to do, rather than dissect a project, is just do one. It won't take more than 5 or 10 minutes. And then at that point, I think you'll get the gist of what we have here. And if I can just put it out to the room, can someone suggest a short research topic that we can conclude with within a 5 or 10 minute period? Anybody?
How many witnesses does a will need in Illinois?
Wow. Okay. I'll ask for some help from you. Okay. So we're going to think about a project wizard, and we're going to create a project from start, and we'll keep it in the CALI folder. And say that whole thing again, please.
How many wills are necessary for? I'm sorry. How many witnesses are necessary for the execution of a will in the state of Illinois?
Okay, we're going to abbreviate somewhat because I can't type witnesses. And we can continue on the description in are needed to do something. Execute a will. My lack of legal skills are shining here. Execute. Okay. Can you suggest some good keywords for a search like that? Or phrases as well?
Will.
That's a good one.
Execution.
Execute. Execute.
Or if you use root words, any form of execute.
Well, we're not that smart. We can cheat like that. Execute. That'll do a lot of
And witness.
witness. You can also use phrases if you want to be more specific, but I don't want to, make
Yeah, and we want to know about Illinois.
Illinois, okay. Illinois is right. Okay, how's that? All right. If you have a reason to build, you can put a client matter code here. It's not really the purpose of the software. You can do that, and if there is a need, as there often is, to build for the research, more importantly, you can share it. So right now we have a list of work groups, other people that would have some authority to see this information, access it, change it, add to it, and so forth. Okay. This is a knowledge management component. You could search other Cartagio projects for this information. I can almost guarantee we don't have anything like that on our server. But if we did, we could search for it. So for all the reference types in the room, I'm sure there's many of you as well, this is a way to, when you go forward with research, organize it as you go, keep it, and reuse it.
I'm sorry. You can search your own projects, or you can search everybody's projects.
Everyone to which we have rights. Remember, we have a hierarchy here. Yeah, this was developed by a lawyer, so that kind of stuff mattered to him. And these are categories. You can add your own categories on the fly, but I'll just take some default ones to get us moving. And the first thing I'm going to do is go right to good old Google, because I don't have a Lexis account or Westlaw. And I'm going to insert the keywords into a search. And I probably spelled something wrong, but what I'm going to do is just bookmark this page to show you that feature. A bookmark is like a sticky note on the web, so here you can type away your own comments and so forth. If there's a keyword library on the page, it will actually pull that through from the metadata. In fact, if there is a description in the metadata, it pulls that through and inserts that as a comment for you. And it wants you to categorize it, so we'll call it a search resource. And finally, Cartagio assigns a relevance to what you do. So if you're not actively saying, well, this is a really important thing, Cartagio makes some assumptions about what the keywords that you defined are and how often it found them. So that's a nice way of trying to sort of supplement your own lines as you're quickly zipping from website to website. Do any of these websites look at all attractive to you? No! Well, we can go back and change our keywords at any point. Maybe if I took some of these commas out, I'd get some more specific results, or if you have other suggestions. On which?
Up at the top it says, did you mean?
Did you mean, yeah, okay. Okay. Is that better? We have to pretend here because I want them to have time too. Are any of these even in the ballpark?
Well, in the living will act. Scroll down a little bit. Let's see if you have any wheels that you see there. No?
Living will?
Yeah, there.
All right. Living will act. So what I'm going to do is open this in a new window, and that's analogous to opening a new browser or Internet Explorer. And the reason you might do that is to keep your search page, if it was good, and this one's not the best, and then also the target pages. So I'll bookmark this too into background information. And I want to show you just a few more features before I start to show you what's developing on the web here, because this is actually being published in real time to the web, which maybe isn't totally clear. So here we have our comments. I showed you how you can type comments. You can also just simply drag them to the comment window. In the case of the collaborative project, which is where we see the value we get a lot of times, you can comment and you can counter-comment. If I did this and then Ben came behind, he was working with me on a project, he could make a comment. He could read what I said, hit the plus sign here, and then say something. And and that becomes part of the permanent record of the project that stays with the project forever. Another nice feature for things like Lexis and Westlaw and the subscription database is you do these searches, and you're not paying for them yet, but your firms will, so that they're quite expensive. And one of the things that attorneys really like about our software is the equivalent of cutting and pasting into the word processor. We have something called a snippet. Let's say that this is really important information here. We can save it as a snippet, and you can call it whatever we want. And what that does is it turns it into HTML. It saves it along with the original page where the site, cites the page, who you are, when you did this, and it gives you the opportunity to type notes into here, so you can say not only that this is important, but why it's important. And then finally, you can save the whole page, which is again analogous to an Internet Explorer saving the page as HTML. But it defaults to something called a web archive, which is better. It saves the entire web page, not just the text, not just the graphics, in separate places. It saves them all together and compresses them. So it's actually a neat way of saving a web page. Okay. I don't want to go too much farther into depth. I do want to just show you what's happening behind the scenes here. Well, we're developing almost like a table of contents, a list of the bookmarks. It shows us the relevance score, the URL, who visited it and when, and for how long. And one thing, and no firewall or web browser will tell you, is how long you've spent on something. So there's definitely a time management aspect to this, a billing aspect potentially, but as importantly, a productivity aspect. So if many of you are working on the same project, you get the proper credit for doing your work. Collaboratively, you can come in if you're, perhaps a professor and monitor the project maybe without really adding to it. And when you do that, you can jump in here and there's a button called New Since, so you can easily see the new things that have been contributed as of a certain date. And finally, you can do things like add other sorts of documents to the project. They can be on your network, they can be on your PC, they can be on the web. We're having a frozen screen here, unfortunately. Well, that is a shame. It's probably a good time to see if it's on the web yet. So now I'm back on the web, and my counterparts have been working away, doing their work, doing their research, writing down their own thoughts, and I'm going to log back in and keep my fingers crossed. And it ain't there yet. Something is coming over here. That's really too bad. Well, here it is. Okay. So as you can see, one of the subtleties here is that while all of you are doing your research, it's all being centrally stored, and anybody that has need of it can get it. That's one of the key things I wanted to bring home. That's basically all I wanted to show you. I want to bring Ben up real soon, and maybe we can answer questions later as well. Are there any questions at this point before I step down? Yeah, that's actually a really good point. We were just playing around just before we started here, and Ben's product here is LegalInfo-Grapics is his website, and he'll tell you all about that, much more than I know about it. But just to give you a sense of how they might work together, I'll bring Cartagio back up. And one of the things that interested Ben, who has a very good way to turn these books here into very slim CDs, there's a lot of value in that. And one of the things we can do to add the value is to take all this electronic data that Ben can provide you and push it out to you and let you work with his organization on tests and advice that his organization can give you about the papers you're doing. So here we are at his website, and I'll just save it real quickly. And one of his things here is a program called Smart Notes, and he'll tell you all about that in a minute. There's something really funky with my PC, so I won't be able to do what I wanted to do. But what I was going to show you, I'll just talk you through it, is that his programs, his CDs, his information can be brought into Cartagio, and we're talking seriously about a relationship whereby he'll use our technology to facilitate the accessibility of his services to his clients, which hopefully will be you guys. So again, I'm having some PC troubles here. It's not really the program at all. It's the memory on the PC. So we'll just have to imagine that as best we can, and I'll make way for Ben in a minute and let him show you what he has to show you. What? I'm going to just close all of these
Good morning. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me listening? Yes, uplifted. Okay. Okay, again, I cookies in there. Cookies. Again, I'm Benjamin Morton. Let me just address a couple of things real quick, because I'm sure there's some questions out there. Let me surprise you all first. You may be wondering, this may be a surprise to you, but I did play basketball. In case you're wondering, I almost hit my head, and then I need to lift the TV up. I did play basketball, though I'm only 6'8". Basically, what I want to do is talk to you guys about a company that I recently started. Give you a little bit about my background. I went to law school at Toro Law Center out in Huntington, Long Island. I went to law school in the evening part-time. And I worked in Manhattan, actually near the Road Trade, as a paralegal for 4 years during the course of law school. And a lot of this has come from my sweat and tears in the process of becoming an attorney. After finishing up law school, I joined the United States Air Force. I am a JAG. Not as quite as sexy as the TV show, but I'm a JAG of the United States Air Force right now, finishing up a 4-year tour, and I'm going to be shifting over as full-time president and CEO of my own company, a company that I'm going to be talking to you all about in just a few minutes. For me, being a basketball player, there's a lot of correlation between basketball and being an attorney. But for me, and like most of my colleagues and most of my friends, becoming an attorney was not just an education, it was actually a transformation. And I share that with a lot of people because it was a major challenge, just learning the lingo and writing. It was a major challenge becoming an attorney, especially going to school at night part-time. Not to mention the bar exam. We won't even go there, but you can imagine how challenging those things were. What we are attempting to do here with LegalInfo-Grapics, we want to do our little share in eliminating the paper chase. I don't know if you guys seen the movie Paper Chase. You can imagine what all work we do and documents we deal with as attorneys. But we want to do what we can to eliminate the paper chase. And what I mean by paper chase, sure, you guys can imagine lugging these things around for 3 or 4 years And I guess I would pose a question: if you would rather love that around, or would you rather love this around? We have the equivalent of the 3 major case books in evidence is on our CD. So we're talking over 800 and something cases, and we'll get into that in a minute when I go into my software a little bit. But our goal is to work with the students from letter to letter. What do I mean when I say letter to letter? Well, we like to work with students when they get that first letter that says, you've been accepted to law school. I mean, that's a beautiful letter. We all love to have received that. And we'd like to work with them all the way to the very end when they get that next letter, hopefully in the first shot, then congratulations, you passed the bar exam. We think it's a long process, and we like to work with law students from the beginning to the very end. When they become attorneys, we give them our blessings. So that's our goal, to work with students from letter to letter.
I have a little intro here when you get to our website. And let's see if, I don't know if you guys can hear it okay. It's supposed to be a little music to wake the students up. You guys hear it okay?
I hope they just got to see the light when they use our product. There's some of our products that we'll be offering. These are features I'm going to be talking to you about. Our virtual infographic outline, our smart note, taking notes, our stream search, do a little research, working infographic outline, which is the hardcover book, and the real-time interactive feedback program, where we're going to be assisting students with drafting their outlines and taking practice exams, and that's where Kirk's program comes in. And you may be working with Kardashian in this area. Okay, we created a little handout for you guys so you can kind of follow along as I highlight some of our software. What we're attempting to do is to assist the students in information managing the information that we all know of as the law. And that's where that goes. We like to do it under the concept that we call the ACR, Access, Comprehension, and Resource Concept. And under that concept, we try to simplify the law. We try to give the students just the black letter law. We don't get into a lot of fanciness. We try to leave out all the legalese and give the students just the black letter law and a simplified version. Okay, so when we first log onto the website, this is what you're going to see. Just a display of the upcoming books that we have coming out, in addition to the evidence book that will be out and the evidence software that will be out this fall. If you look over on page 6 it is, we have a program that we created. It's called Impact Window program. And within the Impact Window program, what it allows you to do is click on an impact window. And let me give you an example of an impact window. This is the front page, Federal Rules of Evidence. These little highlights, if you will, we call our impact windows. The reason why we call them our impact windows is because upon clicking on one, we expect the student to have a lot of impact with respect to what they're able to absorb. Give you an example. We'll click on the timely and specific objections. And this is our program called Stream Search. The Stream Search will automatically appear to let the student know that the transportation has occurred, and now in the Stream Search program. And these are the 4 options that they have in Stream Search. The first option is to review case law. That's what they need to do. Now again, these cases are the cases that's geared just toward this particular area of law, objections.
And these cases are the cases, we've selected the cases that are in the three major evidence casebooks. So you're talking Weinstein on evidence, Sutton on evidence, and Walsh on evidence. So you're talking your major cases that your law professors are using that are teaching evidence. Now, the student wants to get a brief version of this case for the United States v. Brewer. They'll click on the UHG, which we call our under here, therefore version. And the under here, therefore version is really designed to not only give the student the black letter law so they can absorb it quickly, but it's also designed to teach the students how to write in a coherent, logical, organized way. So I'll give you an example. There's an example of a case brief, and under here, therefore, as well. We give you the procedural history, how the case got into the court, where it is. This is the case, this is the court that it came from, this is the court where it is now. Bring one down, we give the students the issues. Then we give the students our under here, therefore, which is again a logical way of writing. Under is your law. Under the Federal Rules of Evidence, Rule 103, yada, 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 this is the law. So again, at the same time, we're trying to teach the students how to write and think logically. Here is your key and relevant facts. Here, the defendant and his ally did this, did that, and logically, therefore, that's your course conclusion. Therefore, is your conclusion paragraph.
Who wrote these?
I'm sorry?
Who wrote the outlines?
These outlines are, again, they started from my basic outlines, and then they kind of grew since 92, so a good 10 years they've been growing with research, checking other outlines, collaborating with other attorneys, checking with law students who actually teach paralegals. So I try to really simplify this if my paralegals can understand it. I know law students can understand. So it's a lot of different areas that came in from. A lot of hard work is swept up. And okay, so that's the under here, therefore version. The student also has the choice of selecting the wrong version, which is the court's entire thing. So you imagine some of these are 7, 8, all the way up to 125 pages long. So students have access to the entire outline. Within the long version outline, the students also have access to easily checking footnotes. For example, if they want to go into footnote 4 to see what was happening, footnote 4 appears, the student can access it, understand footnote 4, click on footnote 4, and they're back into the body of the document. I mean, that's the situation with all of these cases. Now, we also provide the students with in-depth explanations. Again, we try to just, in a hard book and on the front cover of the outline, we just try to give the student the black letter law. But if a student should desire to go further and get in-depth explanations, we have in-depth explanations. We just have, this is just a demo, so we don't have a complete version of all the explanations. But we go into illustrations and examples, so the student can have a more clear understanding of this particular area of law. And what can we turn in the impact window, go to a smart note, and we'll talk about smart note in just a minute. Okay, the students are in class. They have an opportunity to take notes. They have an opportunity to study the outline, and we have to create something to try to keep them up. When they start getting sleepy, lots of studying here together. A couple other things we offer in our virtual graphic outline is the case law database. The case law database, we have all of the cases in all of the books. We're talking over 800 and something cases. Again, they're briefed in the under here, therefore version. Screen search kicks in, the student has access to the under here, therefore version. It also briefs in the long version as well. So if a student doesn't want to go through the entire process of going through an impact window, they need to only click on the case law database, and they have actually case law database of all the cases. Another unique thing about the case law database is if the student decides after checking a case that they want to now go into the body, they need only click on go. Now they're back into the body where that case is applicable. We try to really make it, the maneuverability pretty simple and pretty straightforward. Another thing that our Literature and Practice Outline offers is practice exams, where the student can go in. Again, this is just a demo, we just illustrated 3. So we have some essay exams, and they can get essays, and they can answer the interrogatory at the end, and send the essays to us, and we will work with the students on their essay responses in real time. We'll talk a little bit about our real-time program in a few minutes. Again, we have multiple choice questions as well. Students can take the multiple choice questions and forward those to us, and we give constructive feedback in real time on those as well. Some of the other books, this is another opportunity just to mention a few things. Some of the other books that we're going to be offering very soon after the Federal Rules of Evidence is out is your towards your property, your criminal law. Pretty much all of your first year subjects that are needed also for the multi-state bar exam and the professional responsibility as well. The quick navigation program is pretty much designed where a student can punch in a number, just give you a little bit of information on this. They can punch in a page number, or they can go to the article and it lists the articles. If they need to get to Article 8 and talk about hearsay, they can do that, or they can click on limited admissibility, and it takes them to limited admissibility. Again, if they want to read the case, you only click on the impact window, and the student is now into the cases and in-depth explanations that are behind that particular impact window. Students also have opportunity to list their favorites. There's very different sections within the virtual infographic outline. Also, they can do the history of the different searches that they've done, and they can obviously access those if they should want to do that as well. Real quick, we'll show you a little bit about our Smart Note program. The whole design behind the Smart Note is to give the students an opportunity to draft their own outline in the course. So they can supplement, or our outline is a supplement obviously to the course. They can create their own outline. We try to give them just a boilerplate outline in which to get them started. So it's kind of a neat little package on one CD, which is also downloadable if they want to just use it on the website. So they can carry around in their laptop or in their book with the CD their own outline in addition to all the information that I just discussed with you. Smart Note is password protected for the students if they decide to, when they want to save it. They have to put in a password, so if the disk or the computer, whatever, is accessed by someone else, and to prevent unauthorized access, they have to have the student's password. So we did create some sort of firewall protection for the student as well. Any questions about anything so far? Yes, ma'am.
I'm assuming that you have the full text of the case available at some point.
Yes, maybe just that. We have it. It's called the long form.
Well, and is it in fact the full text the way you get out of a recorder, or is it an edited text such as you might find in a casebook?
It's the full text that you get out of the recorder.
So it's the full text of the case?
Yes, full text of the case. Okay. That's, unless there's any specific questions, I'll give you guys a quick screenshot again, a quick review. In the military, we're taught to tell you what we're going to tell you, and then tell you what we told you. So this is some basic military briefing. So now I'm going to quickly tell you what I just told you, what you get. So in telling what I told you, I'll just give you a couple of, as a trial lawyer, you really, I've been taught to really work on demonstrative evidence. I think it's very critical. So what I want to do is just give you some quick flash screens of the different products. Again, this is the virtual infographic outline. You go through here, you can navigate here, you can play with the gavels, break them up. Click on the impact windows. You have access to the 4 options in impact windows. So that's your impact windows. Those are your 4 options with the case law. Then you have explanations and smart note. There's the smart note. Students want to go into the smart note program. And the last program is our interactive, well, there's the working infographic outline. That's the actual hard book that's available to carry around as well. But the last program, real quick, is the real-time interactive feedback program. And these are law students, paralegals that have contacted me and requested feedback on exams or guidance with outlines, and we're going to set aside designated time periods in which myself or a staff member will communicate with the students, talking through things, and all this will be done in real time. And if things go well, we'll be using Paradigm to do that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, pretty much concludes the demonstration of legal infographics. Any questions? Okay, that should be it for us. Thank you all very much.